Hi people, welcome back to Sleepy Classes. In this video, we'll discuss answer writing strategy for international relations related questions. I'll give you a framework. A framework, you can make a chart of your own so that you can fill in information, relevant information in that particular framework, and you can answer any international relations related question relating to countries in that particular format. Alright. So it is a framework to discuss any international relation question concerning two countries. We often read a lot of information in newspaper every day, but we find it really tough to collate it in the examination hall. So it is an attempt. I'm giving you a framework so that you can make your answer both analytical and deep simultaneously. All right. So the keyword, I'll begin with the keyword. It is test sended. That means TESTSENDED. So it's an acronym that I've made. Test sended. It is one of my friend's invention. He's devised this particular framework. We hopeful that he'll get a rank this year. All right. So I'll proceed. T stands for technical. Whenever you talking about, for example, a question comes, discuss Indo-US relation or maybe Indo-China or anything, you can actually go back and discuss your answer in this particular framework. So what does T stand for? T stands for technical. You can discuss here the technical aspect of the relation between the two countries. Technical collaborations. Technical collaboration, they could relate to space, education, health, etc. For example, in India, US, they collaborated greatly in Mars mission, and then in education, or for example in skill enhancement, Singapore is helping us, and for example in health, Japan is helping us in, let's say, stem cells, cancer treatment. We have an understanding with Japan as well. So whatever the question demands, you can take clues from this framework and begin writing your answer. I'm just giving you points to think about. You can put this keyword down and think your answer in this particular line. Then economic. Trade related data. I'm sorry about this. Economic. It is about trade. You can discuss whether with the country asked in the question, if India has a trade deficit or trade surplus. For example, if the question relates to China, it is a major issue with China that India's trade deficit. So you can discuss this particular aspect. Then what are the major exports or imports from that particular country? For example, if the question relates to India US, we can say that India exports a lot of IT services to US. And what is the implication of that particular thing on Indian economy? China sells a lot of plastic products to India, and its implication on Indian domestic industry. We can discuss that. Then if there is any particular currency exchange agreement with the said country, for example India Japan, they have a $50 billion agreement of currency swap. Rather, India has currency swap agreement with 23 countries right now, and these all are major oil exporting countries. So how does it help us? If it's helping us, remember the Iran issue where India was involved, where India wanted to buy oil from Iran, and eventually India got into a currency swap agreement. And similar things. Then economic trade tariff agreements with the said country. For example, India ASEAN, they've recently gotten into a mode 4 agreement. You can Google on these lines. I'm just giving you points to think about. Developmental aid, a lot of development aid comes from Japan. Japan is the largest donor to India. Then moving ahead, strategic. TEST, remember test, TES, strategic. Discuss what is the geopolitical stand, what is the geopolitical importance of that country. Dynamics, what are the dynamics of in international groups like WTO, UNFCCC, etc. How does that country help us or opposes us in these particular international groups. Then discuss what is the stand on intervention in upholding international human rights, international wars. For example, in Syria war, India was in a way not supporting it. ISIS crisis, Ukraine, India gave in Ukraine crisis, India gave almost a green signal to Russia that India upholds the Crimea thing. And then ethnic conflicts. What is India's stand on that? Neo-colonialism. What is India's stand on that particular countries? There was this issue recently of blue helmets. You can Google that, and how does it relate to India? I'm just giving you points to think about. North-South debate greatly in North-South debate was greatly put to forth in one of the issues concerned to internet, freedom of internet. It was said that North concerned basically those rich countries, that how those rich countries, particularly US, they are abusing their position to dictate terms to less developed countries or developing countries. North-South debate. Then T is for terrorism. What is the stand on terrorism? Terrorism involves a lot of things. It involves sea piracy, lot of things happening. Like we saw a question about it recently. Then terror funding, money laundering agreements, smuggling, trafficking. All the neighbors of India, they in one way or the other, they facilitate terrorism and smuggling, trafficking into the India. Myanmar has got very dense forests. Nepal has porous border. Pakistan exports drugs, etc., etc. Various issues with various countries. So T is one of the very important points to consider. Then S is for soft power. Soft power, cultural exchange programs. Like for example, France runs a program called Alliance Française in India. Then we have British Council in India of UK, and so many other things. Then art, cinema, literature, language. How is the art or cinema of that particular country appreciated in our country, or our art literature appreciated in their country? Then chief guests. We recently saw Barack Obama visiting India on Republic Day. How it'll help build relations. We can always quote this in soft power. And one of the important things that India enjoys a lot of soft power in countries like Afghanistan, Africa, and these can really help build sustainable businesses in these countries and a great image. US has tried a lot, US Army in particular has tried a lot to build a good image of them in Afghanistan, but they have failed miserably. While India enjoys a very good image because of its Bollywood and all in these countries like Afghanistan, Africa. And they can easily beat China based on their soft power. But they have to harness it to their good. Then energy, of course, one can always talk about oil. What are the relations? For example, India, US. That US can always transfer as technology related to shale gas extraction, etc. How is Middle? If the question concerns Middle East, then we can always say it is. Middle East is important from point of view of oil. Then clean energy, how Germany, etc. they are transferring technology on the basis of clean energy. Nuclear power transfers, overseas oil coal blocks. India recently acquired a major coal block in oil block in Mozambique. Then in Australia, coal block, and Sakhalin in Russia, etc., etc. Then technological know-how, etc. We can always discuss technological transfers if they're happening in news. These are of course points to consider. Then neighbors. What is the relation of, or what is the stand of that particular country related to India's neighbor? How is it solving or helping in resolve border conflicts, migration problem, enclaves, water sharing agreements? Water sharing, for example, if the question concerns India, Bangladesh, one can quote all these points. Recently, India is always entangled in one or the other controversies related to water sharing with China, with Pakistan, with Nepal, with Bangladesh. India is more or less involved in every country, every neighbor. And then there was this agreement related to sharing of Bay of Bengal and its resources. One can always quote that. EEZ related issue, that was the Bay of Bengal. Then regional groupings and what is it India's like SAARC, etc., and what is India's understanding, and what are the dynamics that are developing in these particular groupings, ASEAN, etc. Then defense. In defense, we can quote joint military exercises. For example, India, US, they indulge in Malabar exercises. They occasionally invite Japan, Australia, etc. And then equipment procurements, of course, it's a big thing. Equipment procurements. India buys so many fighter planes, etc., from US, from France, etc., and Russia. And what is its impact on geopolitics? These points are of great use. Then second last point is environment. What is India's stand in international and regional forums related to environment? For example, related to Green Climate Fund, GCF, and then there is then we can always, sorry about this. Then ratification of agreements and covenants. Like recently, India ratified Minamata Convention, and what will be its impact on industry, economy, and nature, clean energy development interactions, etc. Then diaspora. This is the last point. What is the contribution to remittances? For example, in Middle East contributes a great deal to India's remittances. US, UAE particularly, and Saudi Arabia. These particular countries, they contribute a lot to Indian remittances, and any turmoil in these countries results in fall in remittances. So we have to discuss that. Then presence of Indian community in various fields, like various countries. In various countries, they've got different types of activities that Indians are doing. For example, Indians run a great deal of Gujaratis. They run a great deal of business in US. Then in Canada, etc., political leaders, and Fiji, and countries and India's neighbors, and where Indians are the political leaders. Then doctors in Middle East, we have seen Libya, and we have seen in the recent ISIS crisis, various nurses were stranded. And then technicians, scientists, safety of diaspora, one very important issue. Visa related problems. There was this latest Nidakat issue in Saudi Arabia. Then there was this totalizer agreement with USA. We have to go and Google it. Ethnicity related problem, that Sikhs they were attacked after 9/11, and how US government has ensured that they do not get attacked further again. And this is the last slide. What you can do is you can make a big chart, large chart, and then you can write on one side these points and important countries. I've just written a few for just to show you. You can write 10 more countries if you want, and then you can begin filling in. As the news will keep pouring in, with time you can keep adding. Anything which comes up strategic importance with China, you can add. Anything which comes up of neighborhood agreement related to, let's say, Pakistan, you can add, and so on. You can fill in these charts, so that last day when you go for your exam, you have a very clear cut idea what's US doing on these aspects, what China's doing, what Japan's doing, and all, etc. So I hope it'll be of great help to you all. Thanks for watching.